Hey there, it's E Squared Photography. I'm Erin.
And I'm Emily, and we are here to keep things simple and fun.
Did you maybe just get your first DSLR camera, or maybe you're thinking about getting one, but really aren't sure what to do with it and maybe a little bit even intimidated by it? Well, we're here to give you some tips when you get your first camera and some things to really think about.
And make sure to stay all the way till the end because we have something that's going to help you start learning how to use that DSLR camera.
We promise by the end of this video, you're gonna have some tactical tips and tricks to take along and dig into that new DSLR camera that maybe is still even sitting in the package.
And make sure to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell so you have notifications for future videos that will be just like this one.
Step number 1, take care of your camera and build good habits around it. So you invested in this nice camera, start those habits right away so they continue on. Learn how to store it, how to clean it, and all of those little things to make sure that you can have a good quality camera when going into a session.
Step number 2, find your camera's manual and find someone who has the same model as you. So as bad as when we first got our first DSLR camera, we did not want to look at that manual. It was just overwhelming and had weird words in it, but we forced ourselves to sit down, read through it, highlight it even, and learn what all of the things were that came with it so we fully could start to understand it. It took us some time, but we really encourage you to do that. And then find somebody else if you can that has the same camera as you. Get in some Facebook groups, ask some questions, and you'll be able to ask them simple questions and get answers right away rather than searching Google to try to find a random answer to your question.
Step number 3, make time to practice. And more importantly, put it on your calendar. If you don't put it on your calendar like anything else, you are not going to practice. So if you can stick something on your camera an hour here, an hour there, even a half an hour at times to practice using your camera and maybe get somebody to come along, not necessarily needed, but if you can, it's a bonus, but put it on your calendar.
All right, so comment below for us with what type of photography you do or that you want to do. What do you want to use your DSLR camera for? Let us know below.
Step number 4, understand your camera settings. So like we said before, when you look at that manual, you're gonna start understanding your camera settings, but actually try and put some of those settings to use when you are practicing and you go and put it on your calendar. Now it's time to pick maybe a couple settings or one setting at a time and start practicing, getting used to those settings and what happens when you adjust those.
Step number 5. Start learning manual mode right away before you get too comfortable with auto and settle. It took us probably a good year and a half before we finally told ourselves it's done. We can't shoot in auto anymore. It's not giving us the pictures we want. We're not in control of our cameras. Till we finally said, okay, we're gonna sit down, we're gonna learn the pieces of manual mode so we can start being in control of the images that we are getting. So we encourage you as soon as you can to start learning the pieces of manual mode and how they all work together to create the beautiful images that you want to get.
Step number 6, ask questions. Ask us questions. We love when people reach out to us and we can help answer those questions or direct them to the right place to find them. Join Facebook groups. There's tons of Facebook groups out there that are designed just for this. Ask somebody, like we had said before, who shoots with a similar camera as you. Ask them questions. Have you played around with this? What do you do when this happens? And hopefully you can find the answers you're looking for.
All right, let's give you a bonus tip to using your DSLR camera. The first thing we want to tell you is a fancy camera doesn't mean great photos. And what do we mean by that? So let's say maybe you have a really beginner DSLR camera and you're thinking about upgrading to a really nice one. It really doesn't matter unless you really truly understand manual mode, understand lighting and your camera settings, all sorts of stuff you need to understand and learn in order to get great photos on a fancy camera. You can have a fancy camera, but you might not get those great pictures that you are looking for if you don't understand all of those things. So as you can see in these two pictures here, the one on the left is when we first started. We were shooting in auto mode. We didn't understand light. We didn't really know what our cameras did as far as camera settings. But then the one on the right, once we learned lighting, manual mode, all of those different things, we were able to get images like this. The camera didn't matter that we used. We could have been using the exact same camera for both of these images, and we still would have gotten this difference, whether we would have had a bad picture on the right if we didn't understand the lighting and all of that kind of stuff. So it's more about learning and understanding that stuff than any sort of fancy gear.
All right, to piggyback off of that, here's another bonus tip for you. Getting it right in camera is going to make it so much better for editing and save you so much time, which is what we all look for in the end. So it is definitely worth learning how to use it the correct way so you don't have to struggle after the fact.
One last thing we want to leave you with is the most important thing is to practice, learn, practice, repeat. You need to keep learning, you need to keep practicing, otherwise you're not going to go anywhere in your photography journey.
If you found this video helpful, make sure to subscribe, share with a friend, and like it so we know to make more videos just like this one.
And we really want to help you get started and kick your butt in gear on this photography journey and learning that DSLR camera. So we've created a free camera settings guide that you can sign up for to start walking you through manual mode and really simplifying it for you. So if you're interested in that, in the description below, make sure to click the link and download that right away.
And for more photography tips and tricks, make sure to follow us on Instagram at e2photography, where we share a lot more about our photography journey and tips that you would find helpful. And if you ever want to contact us, ask us questions, pieces of advice that you need, that is the best place to send us a message. We will get back to you as soon as we possibly can.
Thank you so much for following along and watching, and we will see you next time.